Let's go to John in Chatham.
Hey, guys.
Hello.
How you doing? Let me start out by saying I like Giancarlo Stanton. He seems to be a nice stand-up guy or whatever. But for Brian Cashman to say in yesterday's post or whatever, he's glad he stuck with him. He knew this was going to happen and everything else. Brian Cashman, I believe, would have given him away for a bag of balls if there were any takers out there, but there weren't. Who are the three of you, your general managers? You're going to pick up Stanton's contract, $30 million a year, for a designated hitter who can't run, who can't field, and who's guaranteed to be hurt sometime during the season.
But what's your point? Didn't Cashman make the trade for him, John? So of course he wants it.
I believe it was a mistake. I believe it was a mistake.
Michael, please, for one second. Let me get here. John, real quick. On this day of all days, is the point of the call to complain about Giancarlo Stanton's contract?
No, I'm not. I'm saying I like Stanton. He's a nice guy and everything.
No, not nice guy. Not nice guy. At this moment, you are complaining about the baseball.
No, he's complaining about Cashman.
No. I'm complaining about Cashman. He's a hypocrite. He would have traded him in a minute.
But John, how do you know that?
Oh, come on, Michael.
First of all, once you get Giancarlo Stanton, you got him forever. He has a blanket no trade clause. He's untradeable, A, because of the contract, B, because of the injuries, C, because of the fact he can't play the outfield. So they never attempted to trade him.
You just made my point.
But they never attempted to trade him. So you can say they want to give him away for a bag of balls. It wasn't an option. So Cashman said, I'm glad I got him. Because every time he played in the postseason, he was the one Yankee that lived up to expectations. I mean, you really got to check yourself if that's what you're concentrating on today.
But that's what. Okay, so he's not talking about his play. He's talking about the fact that Cashman lied. That's what you're thinking. This is what Don LaGreca's talking about with you people. I don't want you to hear anything. I don't want to hear the name Giancarlo Stanton uttered, Don, unless it's surrounded by the words right now, God mode or I love.
No, but
those are the only words to use for him right now.
But that all that caller was doing was using the Stanton situation to get a dig at Cashman.
But that's a bad play right now.
But today's the day.
Today's
the day. But I refuse. I talked. It's amazing. I do the show. I pre-do the show over the weekend for Monday. Like how the call is going to be, what direction we're going to go. And I've been sitting on the Yankees since Saturday night, and I'm like, when we get those calls, I'm just going to just relax and realize
zen out.
They're just, Michael, they're the vocal yo-yo minority. I watched the Yankee fans celebrate. I know a lot of Yankee fans. They were thrilled. That's the fan base. The people that want to call and dig on Cash. I don't know why they get through. I don't know why they're always on. But, Michael, I am not going to allow it to represent the entire Yankee fan base. I think it's unfair. It's unfair. If that's the first thing you're thinking about today, then you know what? You don't know how to enjoy things.
Let's go to Eric in Hopatcon.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good. So lifelong ecstatic Yankees fan, thrilled for Saturday night. I'm going to be the more rational caller, and because I know exactly how good the Dodgers are. I think it's going to be an amazing series. I think it might even go to a 6th or 7th game even. And me and my friend Chris, we were high school friends 30 years ago, still to this day, diehard Dodgers fan on his end. We always talked about when it was going to happen. We were 3 years old the last time it was, so every single year since we're wondering when. So we're just excited that all this is happening and hope it goes to lengths. And for John Carlos Stanton, just one word: beast mode. That's it.
Yeah, he is. It's so true, man. He is just. What an amazing, amazing thing, Michael, that somehow baseball analytics just can't account for.
No, baseball analytics loves him.
No, but I mean in terms of just clutch and heart.
Right.
And just ability to step up when it matters. Some people tighten up in the playoffs. He gets looser in the playoffs for whatever reason.
Yeah, he's got an intense ability to zero in. And he's one of these players. I've never seen a player like him. When he looks bad, he looks about as bad as you could look. You go, why is he in the big leagues? Then when he looks good, you go, why doesn't he look this good all the time? But you know what? If you're only going to look good in the postseason, and this year was a really good year for him. He missed 45 games with injury, but he had 27 home runs. So he did a lot for the Yankees to get here, had some big hits, and then, postseason again, he shines. It's amazing.
I just hope it doesn't cool him off this little bit of a break. This is as long a break as they had going into the playoffs.
The exact same, right?
But the Dodgers will have the same thing minus 1 day.
Yeah. But, and then, listen, they got some hot bats, too. But not like Stanton's the hottest thing that I've seen in a while, Michael. I mean, he's just, you talk about beast mode. That's a great way to describe him. He's Marshawn Lynch on his best day.
Aaron Boone announced today that, of course, Garrett Cole will get the start in Game 1. He will not commit to anything else beyond that. They'll break it down. And he also said there's a pretty good chance that Nestor Cortez will be on the postseason roster, which leads you to ask, well, who's not going to be? And really what a great story Mark Leiter Jr. is. I mean, he pitched 2 tremendous outings for the Yankees in Game 4 and 5. Wasn't even on the roster until Ian Hamilton got hurt. That's how throwing a dart at things are in the postseason. Mark really did not pitch well for the Yankees when he came over from the Cubs, but he was amazing in those 2 games.
You got to figure it's going to be Stroman, right?
You would think, or maybe Meza, although he does give you a second lefty. I'm not sure. Let's go to Joe in Manhattan. Joe.
Hey, guys.
Hello.
Just wondering, after Gleyber's performance, which has been amazing, do you think that they'll maybe reconsider bringing him back next year and either keeping Jazz at third or letting him potentially replace Verdugo in the outfield?
Letting Jazz? I don't think Jazz is going to be in the outfield next year, no matter what, Joe. He's going to be at second or he's going to be at third. I just don't think that a good organization can allow 2.5 months of good baseball to erase 3.5 months of terrible baseball. And he's going to really cost a lot of money. I mean, are you willing to give him $60 million? I think this might be short. $60 million for 4 years. Now, I think it all depends on whether or not Soto comes back. Because if Soto does come back, it's going to be a truckload of money. And they're going to have a budget. And they're going to have to make that money back by not bringing back Verdugo, not bringing back Torres, not bringing back Holmes, and not bringing back Rizzo. Now, all of a sudden, if Soto leaves, well, then they could recalibrate and decide to do those things. But, I've seen on social media, well, maybe they'll just give him the 1-year tender. Really? You're going to pay him $21 million? Really? A guy that you people hated for the first 3.5 months of the season. He's had stretches like this before, everybody. He had 38 home runs 1 year. You remember that?
Like you said, good organizations, they are going to look at a lot more than just a brief run. But I really do wish that they would take a longer look at a run when it is. I mean, this isn't just some arbitrary couple of weeks in May. This is the most important time of the year. So that you would think that has some value. I'm not saying that they've got to completely turn against their convictions, Michael, but hopefully they weigh when it happens a little more than they do if it was earlier in the season. He's been big for them.
I get it. But this was a guy 2.5 months ago that was benched by a manager who doesn't do those things. That's how bad he was playing, and he wasn't hustling. So, listen, he's not going to come cheap. Listen, if he says, I want to play for the Yankees so badly, I'll do it for $9 million a year, yeah, they might say, okay. But if his price is going to be $15 to $20 million a year, you're going to walk away and say, thank you for your service, like they did with Matsui.
Well, the thing is, it's all about the dollars, right? So there's going to be now maybe some competition. Maybe there is another team that's going to look at how he played in the playoffs and pay him more than they would have otherwise. So that's probably going to drive the numbers up, which then will allow the Yankees to do what they probably originally wanted to do in the first place.
My gut feeling is he's not coming back.
I think I agree.
No matter what the price is, I don't think he's coming back.
Mets are in the same boat with Alonso. I mean, is that home run against Milwaukee and a pretty decent postseason change how you felt about him for the first 4 months of the season? Or does that forever home run against Milwaukee have value and now you want to bring him back? I think what it does is it might drive up the price a little bit more because there might be another team that valued it higher than maybe you did. But it's kind of the same thing, right, Michael? I think
Alonso has been a better player for longer than Torres.
But the point is does moments in the postseason completely change your way of thinking? If both the Mets and the Yankees were convinced that those players were gone, did they do enough in the postseason to completely do a 180?
Listen, if it comes down to fans, then Alonso comes back. If it comes down to Stearns and the price that he puts on first baseman, I don't think he does. And does that mean that Cohen steps in and said, listen, I want my fans to have this guy? I want to read you a tweet that just was sent out by Joe Schmidt. Super excited about the Yankees, but if they blow one more lead because of Holmes, Boone needs to be fired. Series won or lost doesn't matter. Let me tell you something, Joe. And this is coming from the heart. Aaron Boone had a near perfect first 2 rounds of the postseason. Perfect. Look at the pitchers that he has at his disposal in the bullpen, and he mixed and matched and made it work. There's one thing I disagree with Aaron Boone about, and that was Game 3, taking Rizzo out of the lineup and taking Wells out of the lineup. That's it. That's the only mistake that I saw that he made. He didn't make any other mistakes. So when he brought in Holmes, Joe, and Holmes did a great job against Kansas City and the first 2 games against the Guardians, then he was great. But then Holmes obviously ran out of gas and had to pitch in extra innings and lost that game. I mean, really, Joe, how do you even enjoy your team?
Well, maybe we've just got to make a decision not to give these people oxygen. They don't deserve. What do you say? Petey?
I don't think Michael doesn't have it in him. He has to pick them up.
I don't have to pick them up, but there is a part of the fan base that feels like that, and I think it's asinine and moronic. So let's address it.
No, listen, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying I know you, and you love it. Deep down, you enjoy it. You want
to confront these people.
Right. I like to confront these. Herb W. said, if they were able to keep Stroman off the roster, then how can they justify keeping Holmes on the World Series roster? There's no scenario in a game where I think he would be a viable option. Serious question. It's not a serious question because you're not a serious fan. Did you watch the first 5 times Holmes pitched? That's probably one of the reasons you got past Kansas City. Do you guys not see things? Serious question. You don't know what you're talking about.
Doesn't it seem like, though, that we're missing the general feel of the public if we spend too long addressing negative?
Well, then let the positive people call in, Peter.
It's hard, though, right? When they're just happy. They're happy
and they work.
Yeah, that's the thing. They don't have anyone to dial the phone for them.